gonna throw this up because this is back to the Trump's. We're calling it anti-speech campaign because that's what he's doing right now. And I just want to this is a cry for MAGAs to get brave and strong right now, or like you say, the Tea Party base, and say this is wrong. This goes against what we're supposed to be about. We're supposed to be about free speech and the right to protest, even if you disagree. So this comes out from the White House. Shalom. This is meant to mock him, Mahmoud. ICE proudly apprehended and detained Mahmoud Khalil, a radical foreign pro-Hamas student on the campus of Columbia. This is the first arrest of many to come. President Trump, and then he goes, "That's the Truth Social." And there's a picture of Mahmoud, and he's they're saying he's aligned to Hamas, so we need to arrest him because of his affiliation. No crime being committed, just an affiliation to what they don't like and what they consider to be dangerous activity on the campus of Columbia, and being punished for that, and the university being punished as well, with all of these new policies being pushed by the Trump regime. And in this sense, I'll call it the Trump regime. Who's going to stand up against this? That's on the MAGA side, Garland. Do you see any sort of pushback happening? Are they just allowing Mark Rubio and the gang to pretend that this is some sort of like non-free speech issue when this is everything to do with free speech?
And it's exactly what the Biden administration does. I mean, this is the neocon game, right? You go, and here's what I mean. You go to a country and that you want to rob and steal their oil and natural resources, and you say, we're there to help minorities and women in the LGBT community, right? Really? And then what you're really there to do is steal their oil and overthrow the government, right? You redefine what you're doing. Okay, this is a redefinition. A person says, hey, I'm going to stand up for Palestinian rights, and I'm going to stand up against what I feel is the mistreatment of this particular group. You redefine that. Well, that's anti-Semitism. Well, that doesn't make sense. No. You have to. You want to stop this guy's speech, so you just simply redefine it. That would be like me saying, hey, what time is it? Oh, gee, I got a new watch. That's anti-Semitism. Throw them out. You can redefine any whatever you want. You just say it's anti-Semitism, and then you throw the guy out of the country. So they're doing the same thing. This is the game of power. This is the game of the empire. When the empire wants to do something, it does not give a damn about the rules. It doesn't give a damn about truth. It doesn't. This is the imperialism. That's why I am opposed to empire and imperialism. There are certain things that the empire has to do: lie, cheat, and steal. And I don't care who's in charge of it. Doesn't matter. This is what empires do. And right now, the empire has Israel. What is Israel, in my opinion? Israel is a military outpost of the empire, and it is the most important military outpost because it's sitting in a sea of oil. It's in the Middle East where all the oil is, and oil is the lifeblood of industry. So that's the most important imperial military outpost. No matter what, you got to keep that outpost. So you lie, you cheat, you steal, or whatever you need to do to protect that outpost. It doesn't matter what this guy could have said. He could have said, hey, I think the sky's blue. That's anti-Semitism. Throw him out of the country. Now, I have heard a rumor, and I'm going to throw it at you.
Okay.
Just tuck it away. Put a pin in it. Hold on it. Hold on to it. We will see later. I heard, and I'm not going to besmirch this guy, and I don't know. So just everybody, don't say Garland Nixon said this guy's a bad guy or a good guy. I had heard rumor from the Middle East that this guy had worked for all of these USAID and NED stuff, and that he was one of their people. Okay? And what was said to me was, well, it's either one of two things. Either this guy, finally got a conscience and stood up to the machine and they slapped him down anyway, right? Or you'll see this guy and they'll come down on him and they'll either throw him out of the country, or maybe the courts won't throw him down in the country, and all of a sudden he'll be the new leader for the Palestinian movement, but he'll really be a plant. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not saying any of those things are true, but I heard a rumor out of the Middle East that that's so. So let's just say, number one, it doesn't matter for the starters. The issue is free speech. It don't matter who it is or what the alternative, what could possibly be behind it. We have to fight against somebody saying something, even if it's true or it's a fraud. We don't want to set a precedent where somebody says something and the government can come after you for what is clearly protected speech by redefining it. Okay, that's no matter what. But just keep in the back of your mind, let's see, does this guy stay here, get out of this, and then suddenly became the leader of the movement? He could be controlled. He could be, you know what I mean? I'm going to try to look into more in his background. Did he really work for these USAID, NED groups? If so, I'm going to be more and more suspicious. So I just want to throw that. There are those who are in the Middle East who are damn suspicious of him, saying that's who he is, but I don't know it for sure. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is interesting. I kind of saw some little bit of talk about that on Twitter in the last day or two, and it did catch my eye too, Garland. I'm thinking, this, on one hand, there could be something there, and we should certainly, keep an eye on it.
Yep.
On the other hand, we have seen this tactic used before about follow the money. How do these Palestinians protesters do so well with their protesting? I heard. Do you remember when Trump used to post when we had the UCLA stuff going on? Yeah. We were there. And we saw what it was like and how well organized they were and what they had to fight against, because they were going against the police. They're going against the Zionists that would come up and attack and destroy their camps. And Trump was tweeting stuff out about, this looks like George Soros money. This looks like, look at their matching tents. Who could have gotten the same color? And like just finding little ways to trigger his base, because the base likes this US aid, especially right now with those stuff. They really do like this. We found the money. There it is. And so it's an easy way. It's an easy place to start. Not to say that there isn't anything here, but to throw that out there does work as a great deflection for Trump to say, Soros money, USAID money. That's how else were they able to do the thing? Because why else would anyone be able to get together and organize for peace? There has to be somebody paying them to do it. So that's what I'm kind of like, okay, let's see where this goes. One more thing of note is that this guy, Mahmoud, is featured in a documentary that was supposed to come out, I guess a month or so from now, but they're going to fast track it and get it out now, where there's a whole profile on the guy way before this arrest happened. So I'm interested in that. If he was somebody that was supposed to be behind the scenes and stay in the background and let's not look into it, I don't know if they would be putting him up front to have that type of depiction. So I'm going to look more into that as well. But I'm glad you brought that up, and it's something to consider. But man, this thing is I mean, we're in a war with free speech. We're in a war with this Israel capture, and we have to consider everything. But there's nothing like our own two eyes when we go and see it for ourselves. Like we saw at UCLA, we saw it for ourselves. So we know when they're making stuff up and throwing it on CNN, we know it's all BS when we're there to see it for ourselves. So we'll go with that.
And I'm not besmirching this guy's name by any, and I'm not saying that's true or that's false. You know, it's like I once had somebody say to me, well, I had a member of my family that worked for quite frankly, I had two sisters who were really, really good in math, right? And one of them in high school, NSA came to her and, hey, we want you to come work right out of high school. She went to work for NSA, and they took her then she worked there for years and retired. I had another sister, the same, who was really, really good in math. And the Navy came. We want to put you in a special school for chemical engineering and blah, blah, blah. And she went there for 2 years. And then after 2 years, she says, I don't want to do this. And she became an accountant, was very successful. But I had two sisters that were exceptionally good at math. And the government saw that real quick and came and nabbed them, right? Here's my issue. I've had people say to me, well, your one sister worked for the unthinkable three-letter agency. Why should we trust you? And I said, I don't know what she did. And I said, but you shouldn't. Don't trust me. Anything I tell you could be lies. I could be a play. All of us. Don't trust any of us. Don't trust me. If I say something, research it to figure out if you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, say Garland's full of crap. I'm fine with that. Don't ever trust me. Don't trust Matt. Don't trust anybody on any of these channels. Listen to what we say. If you believe it and it makes sense, then go research it yourself. I'm the opposite of these people who are like, listen to me, don't do your own research. And I'm like, no, listen to what I got to say if you like it. If you don't. If something I say doesn't make sense, go research it. And you know what? And you could send me an email or go on the chat and say, Garland's full of crap. And I'll say, great work. Excellent. I'm glad you did that. Because I don't want to be right. I want to be correct. And if somebody finds something that's incorrect and I find out, I'm better off.
Yeah.
And if I don't agree with it, that's okay too. So I encourage anybody to be suspicious of me. Good. If you're suspicious, you're moving in the right direction. The problem is when you're not suspicious, you start accepting all kinds of crap and believing things that are not in your best interest. So as far as this guy besmirching his name, I feel like him just like I do about you, and you should feel about me. No matter what, keep an open mind. And when we say something, look it up. And I'm going to try to keep looking into this guy. And if I find something that's suspicious, then I'll look into it. If I don't, whatever. You don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in the meantime,
nothing personal. It's not personal.
It's not personal. It's not personal.
We've been had too many times not to be suspicious.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we keep pushing the same. We have to be consistent with our values and our moral compass and free speech for all. And that's how we got to do it. And we got to educate these MAGAs that don't know that they're being inconsistent. They think, we were on their side with January 6th. We said, you have a right to show up to the Capitol. You have a right to protest and not be called a domestic terrorist and not be arrested without any charges and, held without due process. But you know what? They have to understand that also applies to people they disagree with. And so we have to keep, educating that and pushing that out there, because that's the most important thing, that we have consistency and of course, hold our elected officials accountable however we can. Garland, thank you for the great conversation today. Is there any last thing you want to leave our audience with before we get going here?
No, that's about it. Sunday, I will be hosting the mother of all talk shows, standing in for George Galloway. So that ought to be a blast. Galloway's off.
Wonderful. That's great. What great, awesome invite. I will definitely be checking that one out, Garland. That's great.
All right. Thank you very much.
And and Craig Pastas says, hey, and sorry he missed you today. He wanted to be here.
He's the man. He's a good friend of mine. Love Craig.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it next time. And love to have you back on. Love to be back on with you.
Always. Hey, hopefully you'll be back on my show next week.
Awesome. Okay.
Good. We'll talk in the next day or so, and we'll decide which day. Send me an email. Let me know what days. Just send me an email. Let me know what days you're available, and we'll work it out.
Beautiful. Love it. All right, Garland. Take care.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.